In 1983, Quaker Oats purchased Gatorade for $220 million. Thanks to their aggressive marketing, the brand's valuation exploded to an estimated $3 billion. Looking for a repeat, the CEO bought Snapple for a staggering $1.8 billion. But the acquisition was a disaster. 3 years later, they sold the brand for just $300 million, 1/6 of the original price, and the CEO stepped down in humiliation. The board had created an echo chamber where no one argued against the deal. They ignored the fact that Snapple's teas and juices required completely different manufacturing systems, reducing a massive strategy to a simple yes or yes choice. This is the danger of narrow framing. When we face a choice, our brains naturally default to whether or not questions. We focus on a single alternative and give it an up or down vote, never stopping to ask if there's a better way. Think of your attention as a spotlight. What's inside the circle of light is crisply illuminated, so we form opinions based on immediately available information. We dwell in that tiny circle and forget there's a broader landscape beyond it. This cognitive tunnel vision is why even the most sophisticated executives can end up blind to their own options. To see how universal this is, researchers compared the way teenage girls make choices about school and peers to the way major organizations make strategic investments. This diagram compares the two groups. It reveals that 65% of teenagers and 71% of organizations make decisions that involve no real choice at all. Both groups share the exact same flaw. They spend their time assessing a single option in isolation. They aren't choosing between paths. They are simply deciding whether to take the only path they see. Experience and salary don't change the underlying hardware. To make better choices, we have to deliberately hack the way we process alternatives. The first tool to break a narrow frame is opportunity cost. When a shopper was torn between two stereos, he remained paralyzed until a salesman reminded him that the cheaper model meant he'd have $300 left over to buy new music. President Dwight D. Eisenhower famously applied this logic to military spending to illustrate the true cost of the Cold War. He explained that the cost of a single modern heavy bomber is the exact equivalent of building a modern brick school in more than 30 cities. The second tool is the vanishing options test. You ask a simple question. If your current options were suddenly taken away, what else would you do? When a manager used this on the problem of an introverted receptionist, she realized she didn't have to choose between firing her or suffering. By pretending the fire her option was gone, she discovered she could move the employee to back office work and use cheap work-study students to handle the phones. Removing your only visible path forces the mental spotlight to sweep into the darkness, revealing alternatives that were viable the whole time. We can go further by multi-tracking, generating multiple options simultaneously rather than one after another. The naming firm Lexicon uses excursion scenes to approach a brand from unrelated domains. While naming a new PDA, they ignored the technical specs and instead cataloged things in the world that bring joy or help us relax. They liked the word strawberry, but found it sounded too slow. They switched to blackberry, and when they realized the keyboard buttons looked exactly like the fruit's tiny seeds, they found their winner. They used the parallel process for the Colgate Wisp, looking for words that connotated lightness to avoid the heavy, foamy associations of traditional brushing. This works because side-by-side comparison helps us learn the shape of the problem. A study of banner ad designers found that those who worked on multiple ads at once produced work that earned significantly higher click-through rates than those who worked on one at a time. Multi-tracking produces these superior results because it separates our ego from our work. Instead of blindly defending our only idea, we're free to objectively combine the best features of several paths. If you're at a dead end and can't invent a new path, the solution is to find someone who has already solved your problem. Sam Walton built Walmart by relentlessly benchmarking competitors, even taking a 12-hour bus ride just to study a better way to organize checkout lines. But Kaiser Permanente discovered that the best benchmarks can often be found internally. To fight sepsis, they looked for bright spots, one specific hospital in their network where a local team had already driven down mortality rates. They studied exactly what those doctors were doing differently and cloned their protocol across 21 other hospitals. Breaking a narrow frame doesn't always require a stroke of genius. It often just requires looking at your own colleagues to see who is already succeeding where you are struggling. For centuries, the gold standard for choices has been Benjamin Franklin's moral algebra, the simple pros and cons list. But a list of pros and cons is only as good as the information inside your spotlight. If your frame is too narrow, you're just weighing the merits of a flawed choice. You need a better tripwire. Whenever you hear the phrase whether or not in your head, an alarm should go off. It's a signal that you've stopped looking for options and started building a trap. Widen your frame, test your assumptions, and keep searching for alternatives until you fall in love at least twice.